When they pass the basket of rolls around at the restaurant where you're eating with your family or your friends, what kind of roll do you look for? Do you like being the first one so you make sure you get the kind you like? Maybe they're all the same kind, but usually there's a variety of them. Some of them have those little black caraway seeds on them. Some of them have sesame seeds on them. Some of them are dark, some of them are light. Sometimes there's a mixture of dark and light together. When I was a kid, I used to love rye bread. It was like a treat in our household. You know, regular, ordinary white bread is what we had all the time. Rye bread was a treat. I loved nothing more than peanut butter on rye bread. So when the bowl of rolls gets passed around, usually I look for a dark one. Except now I'm kind of trying to stay away from those starches and all of that kind of stuff. Barley loaves. In the first reading from Elisha, the man of God, they were going through a terrible, terrible famine, and nobody had any food at all. And where this person came up with 25 barley loaves to present to Elisha as his offering is beyond me. Because folks were starving to death. And somebody generous presented to Elisha 25 barley loaves. And Elisha, in his generosity, said, let's give it to the people. And folks said, 25 loaves is nothing for 100 people. How do you think that's going to work? And Elisha said, just give it to the people. Then in the gospel reading, we have an even more phenomenal act, a miracle from the hand of Jesus. If 25 barley loaves could have barely fed 100 people, what do you think 5 barley loaves are going to be for 5,000 people? Just try to put that in perspective in your head. Barley loaves were the food of the poor. Rich wheat loaves are what the well-classed people ate. Nobody wanted barley loaves. Only poor people ate barley loaves. Isn't it amazing in these two stories that we get of God's great abundance, of God's great miraculous hand at work, that what he starts with is the stuff of the poor? We come here today as people, for the most part, richly blessed. Blessed with wealth beyond our imagining. Blessed with wealth beyond half of the world's imagining. We come here today not as the poor. We come here today mostly with the richness of resources. And my question is, what's your offering to the Lord? We're supposed to be inspired by these acts that poor people who don't have 2 sticks to rub together, they give it all to the Lord when it's needed. And here we are with more than we can imagine. And sometimes we're kind of stingy in what we turn over to the Lord. Now today, as the basket goes by, I'm not asking you to take your purse and just shake it all out, or take your wallet and empty it all out, but that's exactly the example that we have in the day of Elisha, and particularly in the story of the gospel, where this young boy has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. If they were telling that story and I was the young boy, it would have started out as 6 barley loaves and 3 fish, and I would have kept some for me, just to make sure. But what we have in the story is this young boy who gives it all to Jesus, and look what happens. Look what happens. And so ask yourself today, with the great richness that God has poured out on you, what do you bring to the Lord today? What do you give to the Lord today? And not just about your money in your pocket, but what about the things in your heart? How are you at surrendering your heart to the Lord and telling the Lord, everything I have, Lord, I give to you today. My mind, my heart, my will, my understanding, everything I have, I give to you today. Do with me as you will. there enough room in your life to do that? Can you make that kind of offering? We have today the promise of God's rich generosity. We have the promise today of God's good abundance. The hand of the Lord feeds us. He answers all our needs. Are those just words on our lips? Or is that what we truly believe in our hearts? The hand of the Lord feeds us. He answers all our needs.